high-tech oils, available from Auto One, Sprint Auto Parts, and all leading independent auto stores.
Coming up on today's show, we head to Sydney Motorsport Park for our continued coverage of Round 4, the Shannons Nationals featuring Formula 3, Formula Ford and the Super 6 touring cars. Then we wind the clock back to the 2014 High-Tech Oils Australian V8 Superboat Championship Grand Final at Temora in country New South Wales. This is Speedweek. It's not uncommon for any experienced racing driver to race in more than one category on the same weekend. But to do double duties in two of Australia's premier open-wheeler categories is uncharted territory. It's something that Formula Ford frontrunner Luke Ellery is setting out to achieve in this, the fourth round of the Shannons Nationals. Ellery will make his Australian Formula 3 debut whilst contesting the Australian Formula Ford Series simultaneously, and for Ellery, it's something he's wanted to do for some time.
This weekend is probably the most difficult thing I've ever done in my career. Jumping out of a slow car, which is already a fast car, and then jumping into a faster car like an F3 car is just out of this world. 20 seconds a lap difference, and it's absolutely wild. The differences in sort of speed mid-corner is massive too. Like the Formula Ford comes through turn 4 at 130k an hour, and the F3's knocking on 180. So in terms of speed, there's such a big difference, and in terms of grip, there's such a big difference that they're worlds apart, and that's what's made it all so much more interesting for me. So yeah, we'll see how we go. So far I'm doing okay, and 4 corners on both the cars, and that's what we're here to do. So,
as an owner-driver, Ellery has found the challenge to prepare and race 2 cars for 2 different categories a whole new experience.
So I run my own team, so not only did I have to actually drive the cars, but I have to prep them as well. So I'm doing gear ratios, setting up the Formula Ford and the F3 for this particular track. So it's been a pretty messy week, but we made it. Without some excursions on the way up, we actually had a tyre blowout in the truck, but hit some debris on the way up. We still made it though, so we're doing everything, not only just driving, but we're doing the truck driving, the load in, the load out, setting up the pit garages, so it's a massive workload on me, and it's probably the most difficult thing I've ever done at a racetrack.
It's a massive job for Luke Ellery this weekend at Sydney Motorsport Park as our coverage of the Shannons Australian Motor Racing Nationals continues. He's doing double duty in Formula Ford, and in that car, an ex-Valtteri Bottas Dallara from Europe that he's now racing in the Australian Formula 3 Championship. Richard Crowell and Matt Nolte with you for this one. Nutty, a great Formula 3 field, the best of the year. Some new and returning names in the championship. But how good's the double duty story? Luke Ellery doubling up this weekend.
I love a good sized field of Formula 3s at one of the best tracks in the country to do it from. There's the championship. It's just 1 point separating Capo and Collins. We check out some highlights from race number 2, and it started further back.
It was a reverse top 4 of the finishing order in race 1, which put Luke Spalding on pole position and his teammate alongside. This is Andrew Loddick, New South Wales state runner, copped a hit from McAlpine behind him, unfortunately, and turned him round, but he got going but didn't get going too quickly, and unfortunately copped the hit. This was Roland Legg dicing with Ricky Capo, who's in the midst of a championship fight with John Collins. Legg running a latest model car for the first time in his career. And the 18-year-old from Mackay was right in the mix.
Gee, that was pressure stuff. Both guys respect down into the final turn of final corner at the back there, I should say. And Roland Legg would fight on.
Shane Wilson, turn 5, just turned in. and turned out, as it turned out, on the outside of the corner. Fortunately, there's all that concrete apron, the runoff road on the exit. That stalled him there, and it brought out the Shannons Nationals safety car for a one-lap appearance. And then it became a fight to the flag between the two championship contenders, and Roland Legg just in behind.
See, Collins tried to break the draft on the main straight. It was 3 cars that argued, and Roland Legg decided to look on the outside, not recommended in an open wheeler. Sat back and watched what went on in front between the two championship leaders.
This was awesome stuff. Under pressure on cold tyres up to turn 2. Collins just held out the Johnny King racing car of Ricky Capo, with Roland Legg just in behind, and they raced hard all the way to the flag. But it was a very impressive performance by John Collins. Made up for some disappointment in the first race on Saturday, swept across the road and won race 2.
4th win of the season for Collins, looking to upsize his weekend in the McDonald's Gilmore entry, and that is how they finished in race number 2. Collins from Capo, Roland Legg, Luke Ellery, great job in 4th, Dan Lodek in 8th.
Really, the race was won at the start, so we didn't have such a good one yesterday. So we really just worked on perfecting that, and just maintaining the gap and just making sure we're hitting all our points out on the track. So good to come home with a win, especially at the home track. So bring on race 3.
Well, Matt, he upsized his weekend in race 2. What about a supersize in race 3? John Collins, the McDonald's Gilmore racing driver, he's been electric so far today after a disappointing Saturday and opening race of the weekend. And he will look to win a feature race on home turf in front of all of his home sponsors, friends and family. He starts this one from pole. His great rival Ricky Capo alongside, the electrifying Roland Legg next, and Luke Ellery from 4th, really looking to race his way to the front of the field in this one, in his Formula 3 debut.
On board with Shervington, the lone McGale in the field. He'll start from further back in the field. The biggest field of Formula 3s they've had this year, and we're away in the final race of the weekend. Big start from the middle of the field there.
Danny Rumble, shot out of a gun from the 3rd row. How's the start from the Artec driver?
Wow.
Brilliant. To 2nd place. He's in front of the guy that's led the championship at some point this season. Enormous stuff. Capo goes around the outside at turn 2. Legg follows him but runs it very, very wide. He might lose the spot to Luke Ellery. But great start, Denny Rumble. So important to get these cars off the line. So difficult to do it well. And he's ticked all the boxes there.
That was an incredible start. So filter their way around the backside of the circuit here through turn 5. And already Collins has got a couple of second lead here as this battle goes on for 3rd and 4th. On board with Roland Legg, who made that error up there in turn 2.
Gee, good start. He's been gobbled up a little bit now, Denny Rumble, but I think he made a point. He's running in the national class fight this weekend and has been pushing the class leader, Luke Spalding, in the bestjet.com car from Gilmore Racing very, very hard. It's been an entertaining fight. Luke Ellery goes through, had to work his way through from the back of the field in race 2 earlier today after a bolt in one of the pedals broke at the start of race 1, which meant he tried to start but couldn't go nowhere, had no pedal at all. So, unfortunately, his first ever F3 race didn't go well. His second one was a little bit better, and now he's up to speed and showing the same kind of pace as the race leaders.
Those $2 parts, eh? There's Trent Shervington in the McGale as they come through to complete lap number 1. This feature race event, the Australian Formula 3 Drivers' Championship. Looking back from John Collins, the McDonald's Gilmore entry, and look at the gap he's got already.
And turn 1, you would have heard it, absolutely flat, 235k an hour. All the wings and the downforce and the aero in these cars, holding them to the ground through one of the quickest corners in Aussie motorsport for these cars. It's really only turn 1 at Phillip Island that's any equal. Let's have a look at the start. This is Ross McAlpine, one of the New South Wales state runners. You can see Denny Rumble weaving his way through the field up there.
That's an amazing start. Just looking back from Collins. Now watch Denny Rumble.
Look at him go. Watch the start. How's that? Threads the eye of the needle through the 2nd row of the grid and launches himself to P2. That's awesome.
Mark Scaife tried that stunt here in 97 from the 5th row to lead into turn number 1, but was black flagged at the end of lap 1. Not the case though for Denny Rumble. A belter of a start.
That was great. Replay XD on board shows Luke Spalding, the bestjet.com car from Gilmore Racing.
What a camera angle.
Isn't it great? We'll show the suspension movement through the back of Corporate Hill, turn 8, awesome corner, which on new tyres is just about flat. Not quite when you get to the 3rd race in the weekend.
The front 2 guys are lapping over a second quicker than the rest of the field at the moment, so don't expect to see them for the rest of this race. Denny Rumble, best on ground performance the day. Best start of the season.
It really is their own private little battle, John Collins and Ricky Capo, but joined this weekend by young Roland Legg. Great to see him back. Artec Motorsport debuting this brand new Artec Motorsport ex-Ryken and Robertson Racing F311 Dallara, as we see a battle here with Rumble and Shervington going side by side down towards turn one, and Shervington sweeps around the outside. You can do that here with the aero these cars produce, and that's a nice move. So it was the closest 1-2 in Formula 3 qualifying history, and the closest 1-2-3 as well. There was .04 between three cars in qualifying.
Incredible.
Unbelievably close. And .0035 between the two guys on the front row.
Looked like Rumble had the pass done here halfway down the straight, but a bit more straight line speed from the McGale enabled Shervington to continue on. Watch this, they pull out side by side here. Just that straight line speed from the McGale, Rich.
And the advantage here for Shervo is that he's on the outside and he can sweep round. The Quicksilver car was quick and went round the outside, so he was actually on the racing line. We're on board with Luke Ellery. He's working his way forward. P6 at the moment in his F3 debut. His Formula Ford weekend's been going well. He gets the toe on Denny Rumble, looks down the inside at turn one. And that was a different scenario because the overtaking car on that side was trying to go down the inside, and Denny swept across and held that position. This car that Luke is driving was raced by Hayden Cooper in Aussie F3 for a little while, but raced in British Formula 3 by Valtteri Bottas. Of course, is racing in Formula 1 with Williams at the moment, and the car that Ricky Capo's driving was driven by Sergio Perez. So
wow. Two
current Formula 1 drivers race cars in this Aussie F3 field.
Very strong cars, driven by some very exceptional drivers.
Just call me the F3 sleuth, mate.
That's going to work, you know.
Down the inside, and Spalding, Ellery gets the job done.
Caught him napping, didn't he?
Yeah, good move. But he's in the latest spec car. It's got a huge amount more aero than the 07. A little bit faster overall package, and now there's that battle for the national class where Denny Rumble and Luke Spalding, they're in the 2007 spec cars. Here are the leaders. Capo continuing to pursue John Collins.
They are 15 seconds clear at the moment of the third place man, Roland Legg. They've been the two form guys in the championship this year. They're separated by a point coming into this round. Who's going to lead us at the end of this? We jump on board with Spalding, looking to put the pass down here on this big, long, fast main straight.
Yeah, got a great run out of 12 and just got the toe. These cars, they trim them out at this place, take a lot of the aero out so they can get straight line speed, so you can slipstream up behind. Look at Rumble going around the outside though. He's not done yet. Just got shuffled wide there, and Spalding holds the position, so good overtake. And this is him getting past just a lap or two ago with Luke Ellery. The Ellery Motorsport Enterprises car going down the inside.
That's become a very popular passing point since the modifications to Sydney Motorsport Park a couple of years ago. It used to be more like a right-left combination, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the best thing they could have done here.
Totally.
Because it's completely opened it up. Used to be a strange old chicane which was built for bikes.
Yeah.
Worked brilliantly for them, but what works well for two wheels doesn't often work well for four.
Luke Ellery, what a drive on debut this weekend as he pulls out of the slipstream. Oh, he's going for 2 and 1 here.
He got the double toe. So McAlpine was getting passed by Spalding. The McGale's going to get done by the Dallara at turn 1. Great move, Luke Ellery. And every lap he's driven this car, bear in mind, the first time he drove this was Friday practice number 1. No testing, very little preparation. So he's learning on the go, and every lap he's getting more confident. Oh no. The Quicksilver car quickly spins to the outside at turn 2.
Oh, Shervington, he had dramas at Winton as well. I hope that car can get restarted. I hope he hasn't stalled it, because that'll be the end of his race and potentially bring out a safety car. Looks like it's still alive.
The issue there is that it could be beached on the curb there. They run such low ground clearance. You can see where it's just backed over the outside of the exit curb, and a shake of the head there for...
Oh, it's alive. Just... We'll get it going here. They're not the easiest cars in the world to turn at slow speed.
No, that was full lock. So if you think your turning circle on your road car's bad, think again. Because compared to a Formula 3 car, it's nothing. So he's back going. Now let's have a look at what happened. Difficult corner this, double apex. He tried to fight back. And he'll just lose the rear here mid-corner. Ready? And on the power a little bit too early. The car's unloaded there, so all the weight's on that right rear corner. And he tried to get on the throttle, and just a bit of wheel spin caused him to gyrate the car around. That's a shame. He was having a good weekend.
How cool is a little hint of flame out of the Ellery car out the back.
It's good, isn't it? just heat wrap the exhausts and get a bit more temperature in them, and they dump some raw fuel in.
Great.
1 lap to go. Collins on home turf, doing the job. Great performance by Ricky Capo, again chipping away and just relentlessly applying the pressure and never allowing Collins to drive away too far into the distance. So one slight slip up and the young Melbourneian will be right in contact, but Collins has done the business here. It's his hometown. A lot of his major sponsors here, Pro Vinyl, who have been great supporters of him. He's a sign rider by trade. It's great to see them here, all his friends and family, the McDonald's Gilmore Racing team. Hearing some whispers of another car from this outfit for Queensland Raceway at home turf. But in the meantime, it really is Mac time for the McDonald's Gilmore Racing squad. Great performance and a home turf win for John Collins.
5th win of the year and his 2nd round win in succession, and continues to lead this Australian Formula 3 Drivers' Championship. The margin back to 3rd, nearly 20 seconds, with Roland Legg finishing there. Luke Ellery, great drive to him in 4th, down to Spalding and Shervington in the 7.
Yesterday didn't go quite to plan, but today certainly did. 2 race wins. So, I said at the start of the season, the main one I wanted to win was Sydney. Being my home event, I know this track like the back of my hand. So the fact that we could win that and come home with a nice big trophy and still maintain that championship lead, and we managed to extend it by a couple of points. But the main thing is we had a good weekend and a good solid bank of points.
Very solid bank of points, and his margin at the start of the weekend was 1 point. It's now 3. 157 plays 154. Collins leading Capo. I tell you what, I want to see Roland Legg back in one of these cars at Queensland Raceway, because I think he might play a role in deciding race victories in the second half of the year. That's Formula 3 done and dusted from Sydney Motorsport Park. For more information on this category and all of our categories at the Shannons Nationals, head to thenationals.com.au. A short break from Sydney Motorsport Park. Much more action coming your way when we return.